Hello, welcome back. Bit of a departure from Land Rovers and left-hand drives and bobs and God knows what else and haggis. We've got a Stag in the workshop. I've got a list of faults I need to fix on this Stag, but in this particular episode I'm going to be looking at why the driver's door doesn't open. Anyway, if you like this kind of stuff, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, it helps the algorithms on YouTube. You have to sit there watching the bloody adverts, I get the revenue for it. But it does help, it helps the revenue stream. It's not, I can't exactly make a living out of YouTube yet. So the living is still fixing cars, and this stuff is done for you, for your benefit, public information, shits and giggles. If you don't like it and you can't turn it off, give me a thumbs down. Can't help that, I'm afraid, sorry. If you want to contact me, churchhouseclassics, all one word, @gmail.com. If you want to buy me a pint or support the channel in any way, there's a PayPal me link scrolling along the bottom here. Anyway, enjoy the video. Right, so what have we got here? This is a 1971, I believe it's 71, K-Reg, Mark 1 Stag. I know the badges are wrong. I know. I've owned Stags for 26 years. Oh, the second Stag I've had for 26 years. This is really nice. I like this one. It sits really square. It sits really straight. It is a Mark 1, unlike so many of the Mark 1s that are out there. Even though it's got the wrong badges and it's got stripes down the sides. It's got Mark 1 instruments, it's got Mark 1 seats, it's got Mark 1 colour correction number. There's features around and about which would identify it as being Mark 1. I'm happy with it being Mark 1. There's no real issue with it. I've got a small list of things that need to be fixed on this car. I do like them with hubcaps on. I quite like that. See, nice Mark 1 door catches. Look at that. Mark 1 interior. It's all very nice. However, what we'll do is we'll go around the issues. So number one issue is they don't open. Driver's door does not open from inside or outside, so that's the first thing really I need to fix, because doing the athletics and getting across the centre console is not fun. There's no brakes on it, so the brakes need to be sorted out. Is there any fluid in it? Yep, there's fluid. So the fact that the brakes are very, very spongy would indicate there's possibly a problem within the master cylinder. For some reason, the power steering pump is laying on its side. I'm not entirely sure I understand why. That's weird. Never seen that before. So we can fix that as well, I guess. I've never seen that before. How weird. How'd you top it up? Splashing bloody fluid everywhere. It needs a damn good tune-up. The idle speed is too low on this. This is automatic, but it needs a damn good tune-up. Needs service, brakes, a few other odds and sods, like it kind of, you know, the power steering growls on locks. They often do that, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's got a nice hood on it as well. Yeah, it's a very clean and together car, really. Apparently the boot lid is a very different shade of red to the rest of it. I've not noticed myself, but then it's not actually out in the daylight. Could do with a bloody good mop though, it really could. The paint is solid on it, it's nice paint, but it just really wants a really good going over with the mop. Probably not as part of this phase of works. Right, I'm going to get on with working out what the problem is with the door, because it don't open from the inside or the outside. Right, batteries as flat as a witch's tit again. For those of you who don't understand the reference, John, flat as a witch's tit, you imagine like how haggard and wretched a witch might be. Not a white witch, we're talking about proper old green-faced witches, and how saggy and bloody empty their tits might be. Flat as a witch's tit, there you go. That battery, flat as a witch's tit. Said it again. Now, first and foremost, this key does not feel right in here. So that's normally the lock position, which is going far too far round. So I am suspecting that what's happened is the key lock mechanism has become detached from the actual catch, and I suspect that the internal lock mechanism is not actually doing anything either. The handle the lock is still locked up here. So this is locked on the outside. And if you compare, because it's useful, we've got a door that does actually open. We push. Closes nicely, isn't it? And you notice that when I open it, the catch goes right up. Right, so let's open it right up. There we go. And then we lock it towards the front of the car. And now all of a sudden it doesn't go all the way up. And then you notice how it kind of goes, the key goes that far, and then goes that far, and we're open. Okay? So that's the first thing. I think that the lock rod in there has become detached from the internal mechanism, or is jammed in some way such that even the internal lock is not working. Now, I was rather hoping to get the window wound down, but we've got absolutely bugger all power on this thing, so I'm charging it. It tells me it's ready. I think this battery is absolutely and utterly shagged. I'll put a vomiter across it. Let's put the keys over here. But I'm going to have to really, in order to get the door card off, look at the side that we can actually see here, in order to get the door card off, I'm going to have to remove the seat back. Now that's fairly straightforward. There's a couple of 3/4 bolts on either side. The seat back can come right off, and that's going to give me access then to get the door card itself off. And I think that's going to be my first step on understanding why this door won't open. Now, it's possible that the catch is broken, but I'm more inclined to think that because of the way that the key is operating on the outside of the door, that it's that is my root cause. I've tried wiggling the lock handle on the inside edge of the door. So on Stags, got this affair down here. So that's actually the door catch, and that's the lock. So when you push that in, that's the lock. When you pull the door handle out, it pulls the door lock with it. Now, it does that on the other side, but I've got no guarantees that that is actually connected up over there. Have I? No, Richard, no, you haven't. Right, so let me get the radio on. I'm going to get along with that, and I shall report back, but I thought I'd give you a quick indication as to what it is I'm actually doing here. So that card is going to be a bit of a faff to get off, but we'll get it off all the same. Card came off okay. Undid the 2 screws that hold the outer door handle on, and interestingly, the lock was not attached. So, right, the moment of truth. Now in here, you probably can't see, but I can see the lock mechanism is actually locked, and the handle, the lever is dangling down. Let's unlock. Let's push the catch. Yay! Door's open. Makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? Use my endoscope really to have a little poke around inside there, but I think now that is open, that's going to make life a lot easier, isn't it? That wasn't too bad, actually. I mean, basically, the biggest challenge I had was that the door trim panel sits up behind the dash here. So it gets trapped in there, and then of course, because you've got the lock levers here pointing forwards, you need to push the whole door trim forwards in order to get it off. So I had to kind of pull it out a little bit, undo the 3 screws that secure the lock mechanism onto the door, and then I was able to get the door trim off. Then I was able to work at getting the 2 screws off that hold the handle on in the back here, and you can actually see there, that's the lock mechanism for the outer lock on the door that's just dangling down there. So that will be the root cause there. Let's just tuck that in because I don't want that to get trapped. Right, well, that's good news. It's an hour's work just to get the door open. Right, and here's the lock. It's my headphones out of the way. It's off the car. Nothing wrong with it. So if I engage the catch so the door's closed, and then I can lock it, thus. This is the bit that the key operates. So the key just does that and that. Okay, and you can see there that it's operating the internal lock mechanism too. So that's all working. And when I do that, it doesn't unlock. All right. However, if I then unlock the car, you can hear it click and it unlocks. I think everything is working on it. I just cannot see that was connected onto this. The clip is there, it just ain't connected. It probably was just poked on like that, and it's fallen off, and somehow I'm guessing when this fell off, this rod, it got itself jammed. I didn't actually observe how it was jammed, but it must have been in some way that there. I need to engage the catch. 1 second. Just engage the catch. There, the catch is engaged. Because I wasn't getting that kind of rifle bolt kind of action when I was operating the lock from inside the cut. So I've got a feeling that there is bugger all wrong with it. I've got to reassemble. Okay. Been doing a bit of analysis on this door as to why we had the problem in the first place, why the problem existed in the first place. So basically we're to a point now where you can see very clearly the catch is working. If I engage the catch on the end there and pull the handle, opens, right? So then I think, right, great, I'll lock the door. That ain't working, is it? That is not locking the door, because if it was locking the door it would move that. Oh, sorry, I need to engage the catch first of all. Let me just engage the catch. If I was locking the door, then it would move that there, like that, and then it wouldn't open. Okay? However, when you pull the door, I would expect it then, this, to pull this catch out, and it doesn't. If I pull that catch manually, then it all works. There's a spring on this drum here. The spring's broken. So I'm going to see if I can get that sorted out. So I think the root cause was that the door lock on the inside was never working because the spring was broken up here, and the rod that connects the outside lock came disconnected. And then you get yourself into a situation where you cannot open the door from inside or out, and you can't unlock it from inside or out. So the unlocking from the inside we can fix with the spring. The unlocking from the outside I can fix by connecting up the rod to the back of the handle. In the meantime, we can at least open and close the driver's door. Now, while I was here, I was just looking at this driver's seat. That really could do with another diaphragm. I mean, honestly, you're sitting on the floor there. I suspect if I go underneath here, yes, the diaphragm's just absolutely shredded. So I'll have a chat with the customer about retrimming the diaphragm on the bottom of that. That's not, I mean, eventually that's just going to tear the cover. I suspect the other seat is exactly the same. Oh, never seen one of those before. Sticker for the tyre pressures and so forth. Nice Mark 1 catch. Right, okay. So I've done that as far as I'm going to be able to do it without ordering the spring, without ordering the gasket to go around the outside here before I put the handle on. And I'll make sure that we can lock the door and unlock the door both inside and out. Otherwise we're going to end up in the same bloody situation. Battery. Right. Let's... because the battery's basically saying that it's on a maintain at the moment. It's been going on maintain for God knows how long. So just unplug the charger. That's the most basic of tests. This thing's been sitting there for a couple of hours. And I will disconnect my cables from it, remove the charger. Right. Let's get the old vomiter. You can see that? Can you see that? Sort of. Right, I might have to read it out to you. So it's telling me 12.46, 12.45, 12.44, 12.43. This is not connected to anything at the moment, it's just connected to the voltmeter. And this is fairly typical, unfortunately, of a battery that has just got dead cells on it. It is knackered. And I expect when I come back in half an hour this will be 11.7 and dropping. So that's really kind of, that's never going to get any better, is it? Right, I'm going to need to order up some parts for this. I need to order oil filter and so forth. So let me just get myself a bit organised. I need to find out whether it's got any canister oil filter or a what's his name filter. As we talk. Oh no, I can open the doors. It's quite helpful, that. Right, shut it too. Did shut. What about with torches? Trying out now. I had it minutes ago. Oh, you can sit around the floor with it. Oh. Here, chaps, why didn't you tell me? Right, sometimes you can see the oil filter from down there. No, you can't, so I'm going to have to go underneath. See what sort of oil filter we've got. Oh. Right, it's the cartridge, which is good. The paper filter. There's quite a lot of fluid dripping down the exhaust down here. Now, I can also see quite a lot of engine oil on the back of the engine here as well. So I might actually just get a couple of cam cover gaskets while I'm at it. I'll just double check to see how tight these are. Sorry, going into the next mode on the tool. What's got body? Yes. First and foremost, let's just see how tight these rocket covers are. Yeah. I'm going to replace it. So cam cover gaskets need replacing on both sides, I think, because there is certainly engine oil down here. Yeah, the other side's dry. Now, the other thing is, this has got a Borg Warner 75 gearbox on it. Oh, fluid looks nice and clean. It smells nice and clean. I don't know what fluid went in it. I'll wrap a bit of tissue, which is my usual trick, is wrap a bit of tissue around the top of the tube down here. And we'll see if that helps that. The oil pressure switch is not connected. Now that's an interesting one, isn't it? Why is that not connected? That's a most interesting one. I wonder where the wire's gone. How do you know you got oil pressure? It's always a worry, isn't it? Is that the wire there? It's ever so oily down there. I need to get that sorted out. When I know we sorted the odds and sods out, we'll get the engine started up. I don't know why this is like this. I've never seen one like that before. I'll have to double check that. It looks like it's got the wrong bracket on it. I've never seen one tilted over. They're always upright. This bit here should be up here. So God knows what's going on there. Belts all okay, in good order. Yeah, fairly recent belts on these boats and things. So it's got a new Autobox oil cooler as well. This one okay. Keep down cable. Looks to be okay. Check the adjustment on that anyway as part of the service. Right. Looking into this brake issue that we've had on this car, let's get you in here. So I'm the wheel arch on the driver's side. Yeah, oh, looks a bit suspicious, doesn't it, really? The under seal has melted. Get some shuts or something under here. This is absolutely soaking wet with crap. I'll just double check if it is brake fluid. I've got a feeling it's going to be brake fluid.
and I suspect that union there is leaking. Just tip that up there in the flash. All up here, you see, all the underseal has come away, bare steel under here. That's not good, is it? Right, I think what we need to do here, in fact there, I might get a sample. I'm going to get a bit of tissue. Oh, sorry, went absolutely fucking berserk there with the lights. The light down here. That one there. Not enough of it. Yeah, it smells breakthrough. Let's double check. It's the best one. It's got quite a lot of other stuff in this location, but nothing really will be outside here. I'll double check it. I mean, it's going to be a case of nipping up the union down there. Yeah, it smells like breakthrough. Right now, if I go right down there, yes, I mean there's fluid on the top of the union down here. It's like the union's not done up properly. It's a fairly easy piece of spannering then, isn't it? And then we'll re-bleed the brakes. I might need to get underneath here with the wire brush. That's all quite solid up there. That's all soft as shake down there. Still waxy, that's all. It's all enormous amounts here. So peel the back of the tyre. No, back of the tyre was okay. Yeah, I just spray a bit more shuts up there after we finished. Right, I'm going to do that up. What size do we reckon? 14mm. Right, it should be 9/16, but let's go for 14. See if it's loose. Yes, it's loose. Look, there's no weight behind that at all. So that is almost certainly root cause there. What I might do is take that off and just make sure that the flare is in good order behind it before we go too far. And we'll just go around and just double check all the other brake unions. And we've got new calipers and stuff, so the pads are all looking really good order. So it's had a brake overhaul fairly recently. I just think that that pipe over there has not been nipped up, which is why it's sprayed brake fluid all over the place. Figures, isn't it? Brakes, right? Okay, so we've got the rear wheels off. Let's get the lamp face here. The cylinders are not leaking. There's no signs that they've been leaking. A lot of kind of dust and shit in here. I'll go through when I finish with this, bleeding the brakes and exactly what needs to happen here. Looks like the tyre's been touching the rear wing there, isn't it? I'll double check on that. These back tyres, by the way, they are Dunlop Sports with no date marking on the 185 HR14s. They've got to be over 20 years old. I'm not sure I trust them. I had SP200s on my car, well, in the video on my car when I showed you where the tyre had bulged out. I don't think these are being remanufactured. The tyres on the front were
They're a Japanese tyre, and they are, where are we? India GT Plus, again 185 HR14s. No date stamp on them anywhere that I can see. Steel radial, made in Japan. No date stamp, no date stamps. Lots of crazy and cracking down here. Yeah, I think you're going to need a new set of tyres, Cameron. Right, the other thing I did disconnect this union over here. I'm not actually happy with the flare on that. I don't think it's the best flare in the world. I'll cut it off. There's enough flex on that that I can just remake the flare on that ending. More worrying for me was the pressure differential switch down here, which someone's lost the switch element for and actually just put a bolt in there, and the bolt has got comes out fluid on it, so the bolt's wet, so it would indicate the seals inside that have failed too. I'm going to put that bolt back in there because I don't want the fluid coming out and dripping down the inner wing. So this unit's going to have to come off. It's not a disaster. You can get kits to rebuild these with, but I'm unhappy that, I mean, effectively what you're doing, if the two circuits are joined up inside there, then you haven't got the luxury of the dual circuit brakes. You've got a dual circuit brake master, and then they're both joined together inside this thing. So we'll have a look at that. I'm going to need to drain the brakes down anyway, so I'll do one of the back bleed nipples, and that should drain the circuit down. Hickety uppity. What have we got left on the front? You can see there's a fair amount of sludge in here as well. That's not helpful. So we're going to have to give the master a damn good clean through, and I'm going to flush right the way through with new fluid, new .4 fluid, and bleed the brakes right through. I'm surprised that the fluid is that disgusting in there, in view of the fact that the calipers on the front look new. I mean, it could be that they were put on 20 years ago, the car's done no miles, I don't know. But I'm surprised that the fluid is actually that gross. It's not a disaster. I think we'll be okay. The only real concern I've got is around that switch there and the single flare. I'll go through and I'll just double check all the brake lines around and about, but progress so far. Cold today. It's supposed to be 7 degrees and it's not. All I do with these back brakes, I don't think they need any particular attention. It would be nice if these edges were chamfered on the shoes, but other than that it seems to be okay. First thing I do, there's no pressure in the system at the moment, but it'll be torch there, is I just tap the shoes backwards and forwards and make sure that both pistons move. They do. It's not uncommon for a piston to seize up inside these things, I tell you. Second thing I do is I pull the seal back and just check behind it for any brake fluid. Nothing on that one. And that was clean too. So the cylinder is okay. No real issues with that. I will, just because, silly not to, I won't, because I haven't got my file in. I'll have to get my file. So basically all I would be inclined to do is, you've got a square edge. Let's put the torch up here. You've got a square edge along this edge of the shoe here. And if you basically just chamfer that back at about 45 degrees, it gets rid of a lot of judder and dunk 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 noises when you're applying the brakes lightly. So I'll do that before I put this drum back on. Otherwise it's all fairly clean in here. There's no excessive oil leaks around and about. I'm not going to piss around checking anything else. I think that is okay. Other side, you can see the car's got new springs on it, it's got new dampers on it. Not convinced about the brake flexi. It does look a bit old, that, doesn't it? I don't know if that's just gloop on there or not. Don't know. I'll have a look at the brake flexi. I'll just make sure it hasn't got any crazing on it, because while we're bleeding the brakes through, it would make sense to do that. Stag day. Right, I thought I'd take the cam cover off. First of all, because I need to change this cam cover because there is an oil leak on it, and I'll go through that in a second. Secondly, I just wanted to have a look at the chains as well and see what chains is actually on the car. And when this cover's off, you can actually use an inspection endoscope, boroscope, to see what's going on with the tensioners. It's always good news. Now, a couple of observations. First and foremost, the previous company that replaced the cam cover, and it has been replaced, it's a new cover, it's been glued on nicely. They hadn't replaced the little stem seals, the nut seals that go around go around the nuts on the top of the cover. But more importantly, little half moon shapes go into these housings here, and they put these housings in so they can line bore the cam cover caps. So there's the front one. Where the fuck is the back one? That has just been pouring oil out the back of the engine. It's a good job I've ordered a couple of those as well, isn't it? I might have to take the other side apart as well and just double check that they put the half moon on the other side. But then this side is actually quite dry. Can I see? Yes, I can see the half moon on this side. I can see it in there. So that's a bit disappointing. And make sure you put your half moon blinking seals in the end of the engine when you're doing your cam cover gasket on a Stag. It does look nice and clean in here though. So really what I'm going to be doing here is looking for markings on the chain, and it looks like it says roll-on those. Oh, does it? I might have to get my glasses out. The top trick here today is actually to get your glasses out and take a photograph on your phone, and then you can zoom in. No lock tabs on the cam chain either. That's a worry, because those bolts only do up to about £15. So I'm going to have to get a pair of lock tabs. Oh, you've got nuts and bolts right the way through. What the fuck? Well, that's a first. That is a first. Oh, I'm not touching that. I can also get a good indication from up here as well of the guides. And what they're actually looking like. So this top guide, the main straight guide here, looks in good order. It looks okay. Obviously there's no oil pressure in this thing at the moment, so it's all going to be loose. But look at the amount of oil that's come down this side of the engine because that half moon seal was not in place. You can see it's not been in place because the gasket's not compressed. I'm not making this shit up, folks. I mean, what is the point of having a breather system on a car when you're just going to vent straight out into the atmosphere? Good Lord. Anyway, enough of the piss taking. I've got a feeling that this power steering pump here is just the wrong one for this car. I've looked at mine last night. The bracketry is exactly the same on mine, I believe. This is a Mark 1 car. I will double check, but I don't know where this has come from. It's not going to be particularly easy to get the level right on that. Least of my worries at the moment. We're going to sort this top end of this engine out and have a good old clean up. But at least it explains where the gargantuan oil leak down the back of the engine's coming from. I've also, because I've got the airbox off, sorry, Project Haggis, I've just rested the airbox up here. There's a lot of white paint around and about. I've noticed it around and about. Actually, it might be polish, but there was a fair amount down here as well. Yeah, a big blob on top of the cam cover there. Look at that. Right, so I'll leave this cam cover alone. I will undo each of these screws and replace the seal underneath it, because you can see that the seal there is leaking around the screws. You can see the moisture. So I might as well do that. The carb throats are looking very grubby. The other thing that amuses me, and I don't know if this is standard or not, let me balance you up here and check you can see. You can see. Great. So this is the overflow pipe here. So basically, if the carb overflows, it's supposed to go through this pipe and then down the front of the engine. Now, that's going to have to overflow quite a lot if the head is up here, is it not? So on every car that I've ever played with, this pipe is the other way up, roots underneath, like the one does on the passenger side, pushing the edge of the car and goes downwards. I can't understand the point of having that pointed outwards like that.
It's up a little bit.